Hey! Hey!
So here I am quietly sitting on a bench reading a magazine, when a man that I haven't seen arrive in snatches my magazine and throws a direct punch at me to hit my face. First reflex to have is to get the head out of the axis to avoid the direct hit. Simultaneously, I avoid his strike. So here I'm surprised, he snatches, surprised, I dodge the head out of the axis. What is open for me is the genitals, so in a straight line I hit his genitals. His liver is well open. Hook to the liver, I push on my legs to straighten, send a hook, knee strike on the inside of the thighs to destabilize him and run away. So here I am sitting on a bench, very quietly. A man comes towards me quite aggressively. I don't know what he wants. He sends a kick at me. When the foot arrives, I come out of the axis and at the same time I hit him with my elbow in the malleolus, but I don't push him. I strike him. A vertical elbow, I try. If I take the malleolus, even better. He'll feel it. Here he steps back, I get up, he's not facing me, everything is well open. I strike his genitals, then in the knee crease, either in the hollow of the knee or the ankle, I push him and run away.
Reste calme, reste calme, reste calme, reste calme! Lâche ton bâton! Recule, recule! Reste calme, reste calme, reste calme, reste calme! Lâche ton bâton! Recule, recule!
So here I'm sitting on a bench when a man armed with a stick comes in my direction to hit me in the face in a circular strike. First reflex, I have raised my hands in protection, and I get up to go in his direction. I push myself with the bench, then I retract my legs as near as possible of the edge, to have the best impulse possible to block him, to block his forearm, and I strike his carotid. Directly, I wrap the arm holding the stick, hit his knee, hit his genitals, stretched leg. Here I go the length of the stick and retrieve it. If I can, I strike him. If I can't, I run away. From there, I go the length of his arm, block his stick under my armpit. From there, I spin with my hips and I take it. If he's far enough from me, I run. Otherwise, I hit him and I leave him. I hit his leg, not his head, his leg, if possible the joint. In here, at one point, and I don't know why, he comes and blocks my left arm. So from the moment he blocks me, I'm guessing his intention is not to say hello. I'd hit his face with an open hand palm to the face. If I can bend my fingers a little bit and get his eyes, it's even better. As I hit there, he loosens his arm, so I seize his arm and I strike him with the kendo, either at the nose or the jaw. And then I push my legs to then run away.
Restez calme. Reste là, reste calme. Restez calme. Reste là, reste calme.
This man threatens me with a knife on the side, so my arms are in front. He wants money or whatever. First reflex, I raise my hands. I make myself as small as possible, and I see he's holding a knife. Immediately, I come here, block his arm by pushing it against him. To ensure my blockage, I grab his inside thigh or his pants, just to put a pressure on the arm so that he cannot get it back. If I know how to, I can hit his head as well. Otherwise, I hit his face with an open hand and a closed fist to the throat. If I can, I stand up, pushing myself with the bench. I hit him on the genitals to neutralize him and run away. Here the aggressor comes to the shoulder to pull me towards him, to throw a hook at me. So when he pulls me, I turn around. I do a reversed cover, directly according to my distance. I can either hit him with my knee or a kick to the genitals. If he's well bent, I'd hit him 2 or 3 times with an open hand. A strike is carotid. If he's well bent and that's his here, I push him and simply take my distance.
Reste calme. Reste calme.
had a dispute with a man a little earlier. He comes back at me shouting, so it's not over. First reflex, I turn around and I see that he raises his leg. Immediately, if I have my hands in my pockets, I avoid his leg that had just stricken. I'm here. I chase it away. It's open, it's perfect. I hit his genitals, the back of his leg. I can do it again. I can hit his knee, his ankle. I push him and run away.
Tu me fais, reste calme. Reste calme. Reste calme. Qu'est-ce que tu me fais? Reste calme. Reste calme. Reste calme.
So here I have a person who is armed with a baseball bat. He's pretty threatening. I ask him to calm down, but apparently he doesn't intend to. And then I see he's about to strike, that he's going to raise his bat. So before he does so, I'm going to anticipate. So I hit his genitals. And here, as the skull is well present, I can either hit his neck, followed by the ears, or if it's a little on the side, I can hit him with the palms of my hands, then push him and take my distance.
Et prendre mes distances.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux?
Lâche-moi, lâche-moi!
Qu'est-ce que tu veux?
Lâche-moi, lâche-moi!
I'm in the street when a man facing me grabs my clothes and pushes me. First reflex to have is to stabilize yourself. So here I take a step back a little and hit his ears. If I can, I place my hands like a spoon and hit him on each ear, which causes an overpressure in the eardrums that can create an imbalance. As soon as I strike his ears, I raise my hands and hit his genitals. I can overtake him. Here, I hit his ears with open hands. I can also hit his carotid with a closed fist. When he's been weakened, I push him and run away.
Oh, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Reste calme, reste calme. Dégage, 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 je te le mets. Oh, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Reste calme, reste calme. Dégage, 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 je te le mets.
Here I'm driving in my car, stuck in traffic jam, when suddenly a man comes and threatens me with a gun. Immediately, I emphatically, as a natural reflex, I pull myself back with my hands near the weapon. It's normal. As soon as he speaks, it becomes easier. I seize the barrel. And I stretch my arm and I block his arm. The barrel is directed towards the windshield because if he fires the gun and that I have a passenger, the person will be injured. Immediately, I take the weapon from below. I move on the side. I rotate as much as possible towards him, and once the barrel is towards him, I pull the gun towards me. I hit him, charge it, and ask him nicely to go away.
Reste calme, reste calme. Reste calme, reste calme.
Here I'm in a quarrel with a man at a short distance. He grabs my clothes, pushes me once or twice, and I see that he raises his arm for an uppercut to hit me either at the ribs or the chin. As I'm in a quarrel, he got closer and my hands are already raised, and so I block his forearm. So I just put all the weight of my body down with my arm at a right angle to block his uppercut. From there, his face is open. I punch his ears with an open hand, or I hit his carotid with a closed fist, hard against soft. The top closes because I'm striking at the top. I hit his genitals to make him bend, and I run away.
C'est toi qui as raconté ça.
Lâche-moi, s'il te plaît.
C'est toi qui as raconté ça. Je sais que c'est toi qui as raconté ça.
Arrête, s'il te plaît. Arrête, laisse-moi tranquille.
C'est toi qui as raconté ça.
Lâche-moi, s'il te plaît.
C'est toi qui as raconté ça. Je sais que c'est toi qui as raconté ça.
Arrête, s'il te plaît.
Arrête,
laisse-moi tranquille.
So here I have a person who comes and bothers me. I don't know why, but he decides to set off a circular kick. When the kick comes, I just block it, just below the thigh and ankle. Immediately, as soon as he's blocked, I kick hard his knee. Here, I bend the knee. He collapses. I take my distance and run away. I'm walking in the street when a man shouts as he's going to smash my head. As a natural reflex, I look back to see what's happening. I see he's armed with a bat aiming at my head. I do not really have time to turn around and block him. What I can do is to hit his lower abdomen with the back kick. Come back here. If I can't really put the heel up like a horse in a straight line, if I'm a bit more on the side, I open slightly the hip and I strike in the same way the lower abdomen. The genitals or the plexus if I'm a little more flexible. Then I run away as soon as possible. Here I have a person who grabs my arm quite strongly. I see he's about to strike. So immediately I raise my arm, I spin and I strike his throat in an arc blow. Immediately I kick his genitals. I can either then strike with a direct or strike him with the elbow. I push him and simply take my distance.
Reste calme, lâche ton couteau, lâche. Reste calme, lâche ton couteau, lâche.
A man arrives by the side and threatens me with a knife to have my car. I raise my hands and I place myself as far as possible from the weapon. At the moment when he's going to speak to me to tell me what he wants, I'll take advantage of that moment to grab his wrist and push his arm towards the steering wheel. It creates a vice between the steering wheel and my hand. From there I use my punch and I knock the back of his hand with the kendo, asking him to let go of the knife. 2 or 3 hurtful strikes. His hand opens. Once the knife is dropped, I grab his 2 hands, his arm, and I poke him to hit the top of the car door with his head, once, twice. I push him, put the car in first, and drive away.
Dégage. Feu. Feu. Dégage. Feu.
Here I am, minding my own business, when suddenly a man, apparently angry at me, calls me and at the same time he throws a hook at me. Immediately reflex, I block him with my forearms. But problem, if that if I stay with the arm folded, him with his strength, I'm surely going to get the blow. So here what I will do, when he comes and I see he throws the hook, I block it. I move forward towards him, lay down my hands, I seize his arm, in this case, if he had a jacket, his t-shirt, anything, and there I headbutt him. I hit his genitals. As soon as I put down my leg, I open the hip and I hit his temple, his jaw, with my elbow. Then he's either on the ground or I repel him and take a mag distance and run away.
Lâche-moi! Lâche-moi!
I'm in the street. A man comes and strangles me from behind. So the first reflex to have is to shrug the shoulders, to try to make the strangulation less effective, and rotate. I spin, raising my arm to clear one side. While spinning, I strike his ears or the carotid in a hammer fist to disorient him. Then everything will depend on how he's going to place himself. If it's a little lower, I hit his floating ribs. If it's a little straighter, then I strike his ears with an open hand. I hit his genitals and run away. A person walks up to me armed with a stick, with no reason. I'm standing on the side, very quiet, and there he calls me, and when he calls me, I turn around, and there I see that he's coming to hit me. Immediately I retreat. As I retreat, I take advantage of the flexion of my leg to make like a spring, and I go for it. I block his forearm. I go down and I throw either an arc blow or a cuff. Then I hit him with my elbow. I push him and take my distance. The person comes to hit me. There are two possibilities. Either I have the time to react. I see him arriving. I move forward towards him and I block him. Or I go for it. And so I have several possibilities. But here I am really surprised. So I turn around and there the attack has already been started here. I have only one solution, to take my distance. Turn on it, block him, get the arm down, strike or cuff them, hit him with the elbow and push him and finally take my distance, always having the opponent in sight.
Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, lâche-moi. Lâche-moi, lâche-moi, lâche-moi.
So here I have a man who grabs me around the waist with both arms on the side. So the first reflex is to go down my center of gravity to avoid that he raises me, that he lifts me up. Secondly, I hit his genitals with my knee to offer me some space. It won't be very powerful, but just enough to create some space to then strike with the back of my hand and hit him with my elbow on the tip of the chin. Then, if I can, I just grab the arm. If I can't, it's okay. I hit his genitals with my knees or a kick, and if the arm is still hanging, I lift him, push his neck, he falls, I hit him once, and then I run away.
Oh, oh, reste calme, reste calme. Oh, oh, reste calme, reste calme.
At the moment I open my car, I have a man who comes from behind, and I feel something is in my back. I do not know what it is. I raise my hands, not too high or not at the level of the weapon. And then I turn around to look at the threat, to see what it is. It could have been a finger or a knife. In this case, it's a gun. So when I look, I ask him to calm down, not to make him confident, but to make him loosen up a little. As I say this, I chase his arm away with mine. I wrap him and hit him, and at the same time, I hit his face with my elbow. I hold him, I hit him with my knee, I kick him, and this arm there, very important. Do not leave him distance. Have it close to yourself to properly master him, because the man still has the gun. I kick, I grab the weapon, and I turn in the direction of his index. I take it away, and I can either beat him with the rifle butt, or I knock him. I take the weapon, I hit him, and I take my distance.
Et je reprends mes distances. Reste calme.
Here I'm in my car and blocked in traffic jam, when a man comes to my window and directly starts talking to me. First reflex, I try to face him, protecting myself with my hands. He shouts at me and I see that he's about to punch me. Here I try to push myself against my seat, to dodge his punch. I grab his arm and I pull towards the inside of the car. Once he has his head inside, I just hit his face with an open hand, closed fist, if I can. It doesn't matter. I hit him, hit again. I shout him in the ear. I pluck his ear if I must. Then I push him, hit him, his face one last time. I push him back, start the engine, and drive away if possible. A man approaches me and decides to apply a lateral elbow lock, so a strangulation on the side. There, I let myself be carried away and immediately I block on my legs. Systematically, I strike his genitals and at the same time I strike the back of his head. Again, I hit his face, his chin, to raise him, and then, there, directly, I pass my hand and I apply a lock, which opens to me the whole blank. I can either hit his side, liver, elbow, all I can strike. I push him away and I take my distance. This is very important if you keep your fingers open. He could get your fingers and apply a joint lock or break a finger. So very important. Once you are on your face, you close well if you take the eyes there. Avoid the bites. I just come there, and after that, I grip strongly the face. I come in well to avoid him, and then I continue, I knock him. So here a man comes from behind, pulls me on the shoulders. I find myself face to face with him and that he raises his arm to hit my face with a stick. So here immediately, first thing to do is to raise my hands and cover myself. So to cover I do this. I cover my head like this, sliding the length of the skull. Place my hand behind my neck, lock and put my elbow in front of my nose. My second hand raised here towards the face. I just wrap it all. I kick his genitals. I can overtake him. I'm not trying to knock him out, I'm just trying to disarm him. I throw the stick away and run away. I have a person who comes from behind and pulls my hair. So as he grabs my hair, he pulls it. I let myself go towards him. And there I rotate. I hit him in the eyes, the chin. I hit him with my knee. I kick him. Or I hit him with my knee and the knee again. I hit him multiple hits. It depends how he's placed. When he's weakened, I push him away and take my distance quietly.
Restez calme, restez calme, restez calme. Restez calme.
I'm quietly sitting on a bench to get some fresh air when a man comes towards me. I don't pay attention. He takes out a knife and he asks me for money, for my wallet. I'm being mugged. First reflex, I stand up on the bench to have a good support. I raise my hands and I make myself as small as possible. The knife, I see it well. It's in front of me. What I do first is to chase away the blade as far as possible from me. So I'm away from a possible axis of attack that could happen. And I chase away the hands holding the knife. Come back here. I'm here, there, I chase it away. Immediately I hit his genitals. I straighten myself up to hit his genitals. Directly from there I put my foot down. I push, I leave. Here I will only do one strike on the genitals and push him. Why? Because the knife can be very dangerous and I don't want to take the risk of being here and getting contact to strike. Because he can come back and start cutting and cut me a little everywhere. So there I hit his genitals, I push him, it creates enough space for me to leave and run away.
Pardon?
T'as pas une cigarette au moins?
Non, je fume pas, j'ai pas de cigarette. moi.
Ouais, je t'ai vu fumer.
Ouais, mais qu'est-ce que tu me fais
Moins
là?
de clope.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais?
Moins de
Arrête!
clope.
Arrête! Oh, arrête! Pardon?
T'as pas une cigarette au moins?
Non, je fume pas, j'ai pas de cigarette. moi.
Ouais, je t'ai vu fumer.
Ouais, mais qu'est-ce que tu me fais
Moins
là?
de clope.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais?
Moins de
Arrête!
clope.
Arrête! Oh, arrête!
Here I'm sitting on a low wall. I can also sit on a bench or anywhere. I'm sitting next to a person. Apparently this person wants to have a cigarette, but I'm a non-smoker. No cigarettes, and apparently that bothers him. So he keeps insisting and becomes very insistent and takes the opportunity to jostle me. I ask him to remain calm. I don't know why, but at some point he decides to slap me. I block him with my two arms. As soon as I blocked him, I hit his face with my hand. I straighten and I slap him again, and there I take my distance to be in front of him, in case he would like to do it again.
Ah, lâche-moi! Lâche-moi! Ah, lâche-moi! Lâche-moi!
A man comes on the side and strangles me. So the first reflex to have is to lower down the center of gravity, to avoid that he pushes me on the side, so that I can strike him directly on the genitals and simultaneously be able to release my throat so that I can breathe as quickly as possible. Simultaneously, I strike him and release me. I raise my elbow point of the chin. I rotate and I take the opportunity to strike his carotid. It's not that difficult. I control his elbow, pressure forward. I hit him with my knee, a second knee strike or genital strike, and then I straighten him up and I just hit him with my elbow, the tip of the chin, and run away.
Reste calme, reste calme, reste calme! Reste calme, reste calme, reste calme!
Here I see a man armed with a long stick facing me. First reflex, I raise my hands, putting my arms close together as much as possible to protect my body. He comes towards me and decides to prick me on the belly. First thing to do is to get out of the axis of attack, either with my forearm, or if I know the length of my body to have a larger surface, I get out of the line of attack. Directly, I grab the stick as close to his hand as possible and hit him with the back of my hand on his face. It can be with an open hand to the eyes, or a kendo to the nose or throat. It's perfect. This exposes his trachea, and there I continue to move forward and I wrap his Adam's apple with the hollow of my arm. Here I take the hollow of my arm to the head, I contract, I breathe in and I bring him to the ground. 7 to 8 seconds. If the strangulation is well done, the person falls asleep, I leave him like that and run away.
Mais non, t'arrêtes de dormir.
Lâche-moi.
Mais non, t'arrêtes de
Lâche-moi.
dormir.
Lâche-moi. Lâche-moi, je te dis.
Mais non, t'arrêtes de dormir.
Lâche-moi.
Mais non, t'arrêtes de
Lâche-moi.
dormir.
Lâche-moi. Lâche-moi, je te dis.
So here a man comes. He grabs my wrists. Here I have two possibilities. If he really holds my wrists, I raise my hands, I join hands and lift them up. As I turn around, I have an opening and I kick him in the genitals, either with my left or right foot. And then he lets go and I take my distance. If he comes a little higher at the front arm, I do exactly the same movement, but here, since I have a little more space, I come shorter and I take his arms and kick him in the genitals. I take my distance and I have my opponent inside.
Toujours reprendre sa distance et avoir revisu l'adversaire. Oh, reste calme, reste calme. Feu! Oh, reste calme, reste calme. Feu!
A man comes towards me and threatens me with a gun. Immediately, I must not fixate the weapon, but I must look at the person. I raise my hands at the level of the gun. When he starts talking, because it's very important not to do it when I speak, but when the person starts talking, I take advantage of the reflection. To get out of the axis, I grab the cannon. I get out of the axis, I stand up, I rotate towards him, and I kick him on the genitals. I go on, get the weapon out, take it, and run away.
Et hop, je le prends et je prends la fuite.